So, with today's topic of branding and narrowing niche, feel free to comment, ask questions. If you want more clarity or support around picking and choosing and determining what niche and brand looks like for you, by all means, comment. Let's have this be more of a fun conversation where you can bounce ideas off of me. I can help you hone down. And because I know you guys are all from like all over the world too, so if it's 4 in the morning where you are, 3 in the morning, wherever, and you can't join live and you're watching the replay, then feel free to do the same thing and I can come on later tomorrow or whenever during this time to help you also do the same thing with honing down. And I have my sticky notes here too of comment from Christina of her niche and also from Brennan too. So I'm happy to support you guys and share what I've learned on the almost, let's see, it'll be 4 years for me in December to have my coaching business. And while I have changed niches and I have changed ideal clients and I have rebranded a few times, it's also what I help my clients do now. So that is, my niche is actually helping coaches with their business, with starting and growing their business. So niche and branding are definitely things I talk a lot about. So feel free to share, Jennifer, if you know what your niche is, or if you have an idea and want to share, or if you have questions about it, feel free, since you're here with me now. And we'll go into my notes here. So, building a brand and narrowing your niche, I definitely know when I was starting my business back in December of 2016 as a brand new graduated CTNC, I was like so overwhelmed and so freaked out and so just like kind of in the mud about but I have all this information. What do I do with it? I want to help everyone with everything and do all the things because I just know, from my story personally, I had been through so much pain. I had had so many diagnoses, so much lab work. I was on so many supplements. I was trying so many different diets, all the lifestyle things, all the things. So I had so much to share. So I remember where you are now with being so nervous, so overwhelmed, and just full of ideas and not knowing where to start. And how do you choose? And will you be stuck with it forever? And what will people think? Will they understand? All those things. So we can just take a deep breath and relax, knowing that even if you pick something now, it doesn't mean you're married to it. It doesn't mean it's a tattoo. You can always change it. Even tattoos you can change. And with your brand and your niche especially, it's a starting point. You can always pivot. You can always edit. You can always change. Kind of like your hair color. You just decide, you choose, try again, see how it looks, see how it feels, go with it, and move forward. So, yay, Jennifer, awesome. You actually got a niche. You've chosen thyroid adrenal issues for women between 30 and 50. Awesome. Love, love, love it. Cool. So we'll work with that. And leading into my notes here with that topic, what you can do to expand on that, Jennifer, and I have an assumption or a guess that the reason you chose your niche was because that's also something that you went through. If so, let me know. That's also where I started, not with that niche, but the point is with starting out, it's really, really helpful to pick a niche of personal experience of what your health journey was. So that's what I started out with, because that was the most personal, passionate place to start. You really have an understanding of your ideal client, the words they say, the problems they have, what keeps them up at night, and what do they desire most. And those are components that you're going to need the rest of your business. So especially now with so many coaches and so many things online, to stand out, you have to have those words and those ideal terms so they know that you're speaking to them. So yes, I was correct. And I promise I did not social media stalk you, so I really did not know. It was just a good guess. So I'm really glad you nailed my tip of starting with your niche and narrowing your niche with having it be relevant to your story. So that means, here's some journal prompts for you all to really hone in on that. If you haven't narrowed your niche or have an idea of what to choose, some journal prompts for you are: what was one of your biggest pains or struggles? What did you overcome, experience, or transform? And why do you want to help others with blank? Fill in the blank. So for you, Jennifer, obviously you have that personal passion and that experience, and you have your CTNC education to support you in helping your ideal clients that are between 30 and 50 with thyroid cancer and adrenal disease. And so that, with what you just said, is even more specific with narrowing your niche, because sometimes when going like too general with like large niche topics, like thyroid issues and adrenal issues, that could mean a lot of things, and then people might not be sure if you can help them with their specific things. Whereas when you mentioned thyroid cancer and adrenal disease, maybe you would even want to narrow down with saying like what adrenal disease exactly. There's probably still millions with thyroid cancer and millions with adrenal disease, like more than enough of an audience that you could certainly narrow down with that and start there. And then they're like, Jennifer, she went through this. She knows what I've been through. She, even if it's not completely, don't want to say the cured word, because we don't want to say that, but not completely like in remission or completely out of the woods with that. As long as you're, still a couple steps ahead, you have more than enough education and experience to support them in the steps that you did, the proven process from protocols from ITN, and your own work. Jennifer, you said even adrenal fatigue is such an issue today too. Yes, adrenal fatigue, definitely. And I love that you're having the conversation with me. It's much better to have like this real life kind of like coaching and honing on this than me just like explaining my notes. So yes, And as far as branding and niching goes, keep in mind the terminology. So if your ideal client, is a woman between 30 and 50, and she probably has had that diagnosis of thyroid cancer. So like she knows about that. She sees that you talk about it on social media or do a video or have it on your website. She Googles and like finds you. So like that she gets. But also keep in mind with the terminology of adrenal fatigue, because like while we're practitioners, like we know what that means. Does she know what that means? Because if she has that diagnosis or she's done that research, would she be drawn to invest in that? Or would you want to use keywords or terminology like brain fog, or thinking of like the stages of adrenal fatigue, where it's like stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, where it's like, is she wired and tired, or is she just like so adrenally fatigued that she like can barely get out of bed, and like showering is a huge step for her in the day. So just keeping that in mind when you start to, have your mission statements of like, I help blank with blank so they can. So just keep that in mind. Yeah. So were you actually diagnosed with the adrenal fatigue too? Or you just are going with that that's related? And yes, in your branding, in your story, using those words of exactly how you were feeling is going to be so great with you building the connection with them. They get that you get them. Yes, using key words, using key terms. Absolutely. Absolutely. Good. Love this, Jennifer. Thank you for commenting. It's going to be really, really powerful for everyone else that's like watching this and listening to this, because they're like, oh, that is like a real example. It's not just like theory, not theory. That's what I was thinking of. So with your story, with your personal experience, that is really, really powerful in helping you narrow your niche and build your brand, because you're going to have those keywords. They're going to get that you know where you're coming from, and with that combination of also your experience and your education, you'll have the process of that specific transformation, and then that becomes the how of your signature program. So by telling your story, telling them what you went through, what your diagnoses were, how you felt, those key terms that they can relate to, less of the like medical terminology, unless that's like who you're targeting and they already know what you're talking about, but keeping it simple, using those. And you can also see that like Cynthia is the master of this with the story, and that you can recall her story. You can remember what she's been through. I've told my story on here. I'm sure you probably remember parts of that too. It is very, very powerful in building your brand, helping them know, like, and trust you. And understanding with the niche is really just the area and the specific things that you can help them with. So your story, and they get that, real feeling of passion from you because you've been through it. So, you know, they can just feel that. So more into like the top secret of narrowing and honing your niche. You know, first, kind of like you started out with Jennifer with the thyroid and adrenal. That's really more of like the big umbrella that you've narrowed down. Same with Christina. She has narrowed down with, you know, she wants to help women. The big umbrella there is digestive issues. So for when Christina watches this, just like what we walked through with Jennifer, is really narrowing down even more of like, you know, you have the big target, you have the main umbrella, but how do you niche down even more so you can really stand out, so your ideal clients really know that you're talking to them and that they know what is in it for them. So with Christina, I would ask you to, like, what specific digestive issues? Does that mean like IBS? Does that mean like Crohn's? Does that mean diverticulitis? Does, like, what exactly, does it just mean like heartburn? What exactly does that mean? Getting more specific. And also for you, Jennifer, too, you know, between women 30 to 50, if you wanted to focus on moms, you could do that. Or, you know, the same thing with Christina. If you focused on, you know, busy working moms, so you know where to find them, and you can even more relate to them as well. Yes, Jennifer, our stories are so unique and powerful. The important thing is for clients to know that they aren't alone. We can help them with that. Exactly. And sharing your story especially is I don't label many things perfect, but the perfect way to launch your coaching business is to share your story. That's how I did it almost 4 years ago. I figured out how to do like Facebook Live didn't even exist yet, so I actually had to record the video, and it was super scary. I cried before, I cried during, and I cried after, but published the video, sharing my story, attracted those women who it related to, because exactly, it's that's who I wanted to work with, that's what I knew, that's what I was passionate about, and that was powerful. And then I said, okay, this is who I'm wanting to help, this is why, this is my mission, this is my message, and I have this offer for you. Here's how you can join. Click the link, option 1, option 2, and yeah, the rest is history. So you can do the same thing with telling your story. Now that you have your niche, now you know who you want to help and with what and with why. You have your niche, you have that. Also, my other sticky note I'll cover too before I move on to the branding part is Brennan. So she was thinking, same thing, like I said, with new coaches, with launching something, it's all the ideas, you have several passions, or also within your story timeline, there's probably several events or experiences or situations or diagnoses or symptoms, all that. I also had a range of things I could have chose, but I led with the one that also I was a few steps ahead on. I felt really, really good about, felt really confident about, knew that it would be staying in my lane, so it would be specific, it would be narrowed down. So yeah, the same thing with Brennan, what she was commenting is like, there was a few things, and like you guys too, like there's a few things. So with Brennan, she was mentioning she is thinking about helping women with breast implant illness, or another multi-passionate area is in motherhood, natural childbirth, and like holistic kids health. So that would also need, a little bit of narrowing, and also just leading with one. It's easier to start with one, and then you can add to it as you go. So for example, with what you've heard me say, when I started out, I started with helping women with Lyme disease who knew they had a root of trauma that was, causing them to stay sick. And even though I led with that and I chose that, I actually ended up attracting a lot of coaches, even some doctors and a pharmacist and other health practitioners, because that was also my experience. So I had shared some of that and like kind of unintentionally, but what I found and with the way I pivoted the niche and the brand was the universe is going to guide you. You are going to get signs. So like with Brennan, if you chose to start out with breast implant illness, because perhaps that niche, that area is like the one you're furthest along, or like you're really out of the woods with, you feel really confident about it, you feel really good about it, you could lead with that. And then after you get going, get a few clients, feel good about that, you could go ahead and add on the element of like, perhaps that niche was starting out with the breast implant illness. Maybe that woman is like in her late 20s, early 30s, and the breast implant illness, maybe that's like interfering with her fertility. And then after you're like, okay, like this is what's going on, here's what we can do, here's what worked for me. Your bigger why of wanting to deal with the breast implant illness is so that you can have a family, and then you can have like a program offering pyramid, where it's like the first layer is like you have the breast implant illness, the second layer you have the holistic healthy motherhood, and then the third layer is like the kids' health. So like you can tie it all together, but it's easier to start with one thing and exactly, Jennifer, branch out from there. So yeah, the same thing with you, starting with those women between 30 and 50, perhaps like with their progression, where you could start them on with your like signature program. Perhaps it could be like you tell me like what are some of the symptoms or issues that come up before actually getting the diagnoses of thyroid cancer. I haven't done any of the training on cancer, so it's not in my wheelhouse. I don't know those terms, I don't know the process. So obviously I did not niche with the cancer. So let me know those keywords and I can give you an example kind of like with what I did, Brennan. But that's what narrowing your niche and kind of marketing, I guess like threw a lot of marketing terminology in there too, of how you would attract your niche. Extreme fatigue and weight gain. Two major components. Awesome. Cool. Thanks for sharing. So yeah, that extreme fatigue and weight gain, and same thing with like kind of the program pyramid. Like if you wanted to, like you have the thyroid cancer is kind of like the higher level, and then the extreme fatigue and the weight gain is kind of like you help women who are suffering from extreme fatigue and weight gain so they can avoid thyroid cancer or transform thyroid cancer. That's kind of how you can like wrap it all up and get them on the progression of like before they're diagnosed and even if they're after diagnosis. Yay! So we'll go ahead and dive into branding. So Jennifer, have you started to like put this out there on social media? Have you shared your story on social media? Have you shared a post on social media? Do you have a website? Any of those things as far as like running with your niche and starting to build your business and your brand? Let me know. Oh, cool. Yeah, so yeah, that's very, very, that's super niche specific, speaks to your ideal client, because that's after the treatment too. Awesome. So this is where a coach would come in. My doctor told me to go on Weight Watchers. Oh, yeah. Well, keep that in mind. Yes, that stuff does happen because, you know, we as coaches have had the education in nutrition, so we can actually come from a place of giving clients more time, more support, more education, more empowerment, more resources on what to actually do. Whereas, so with my background, I used to educate medical doctors. I don't have a medical degree, but I used to educate medical doctors and pharmacists and DOs and other practitioners about nutrition. So one thing is that most conventional doctors, like, they're educated in pharmacology. They're not so much educated in nutrition like we are. So not to, like, you know, blame the system, but like they didn't get that education that we have. So knowing that, and that is part of your story, it might be a great idea for you to network with doctors and partner with those specific doctors, perhaps like the like a specific thyroid doctor, or, you know, cancer doctor, or maybe even a lot of spiritual healing to happen with, to partner with the doctor that told you to do that. And you could be like, hey, I went through this, I have this education, I want to help support your patients with what I've learned, with how to help them from a comprehensive, holistic nutrition and lifestyle place. So, exactly, thank you. Endocrinologist. I've done a lot of talking and coaching today, so I'm starting to get a little word mush happening. But yes, think of how powerful that would be to come from a place of partnership with that doctor that you worked, if you want to. If not, great. Just an idea that would really be supportive to giving value to their patients, and obviously the ones that would become your clients, So it's a win-win-win for everyone, because a lot of those endocrinologists and doctors, they don't have that in-depth nutrition education that we have. In fact, a lot of them only had, like, a lot of the doctors I worked with told me they had maybe an hour of actual nutrition training. So, we know, the doctors, they don't have the time. They're in and out seeing as many patients as they can. I've had doctors like Google things in front of me. Like, they're rushed, they're hurried, and now more than ever, they have a lot going on. So this helps us enter into a space of like, we can show up and support those patients and clients to work together with that. So that is beautiful, Jennifer. That is going to be so, so great. Cool. Yeah, and that's part of your story too. You can say like, my doctor, lots of love to them, told me to go on Weight Watchers. That didn't work. And that was more fuel for my fire to really help other women tackle this. It's what I went through. I've learned. This is what I help them with. So if you don't already have that on your website, since you have a website, awesome, great job. You can add that. Cool. Yeah, feel free to share it in the group. Yes, you do feel hopeless when you get no info from your doctors. Awesome. Yes, same. That's how, I'm pretty sure that's like the through line for like everyone in ITN, is we had our own experience, our own journey. We were fed up with what was happening, and we knew there had to be a better way. And that's where we got this education, that's where we got the empowerment, and now we're gonna help others do the same. Beautiful, awesome. Okay, so branding. Yes. What a comprehensive coaching call this has been. I'm like, wow, I don't have there's so many things I didn't have in my notes today. So you guys are getting like the full, multifaceted, comprehensive approach to today's topic. Yes, we've all been there. Cool, so branding. Branding, again, when I started my business, I'm like, okay, what colors do I choose on my website? What is like the theme? What should my logo be? What fonts do I choose? There's so many freaking fonts. Like, how does one even choose? So, keep in mind, again, branding can be a starting place. You can also rebrand. I feel like, I've done this process a few times over the 4 years. You've seen ITN do the same process. They've had quite a few different colors and logos over the years too. They're even going through one right now. It was probably red when you enrolled, and now it's blue. So knowing it's not a tattoo, you're not married to it, it's not permanent, can help you just release the pressure of knowing it doesn't have to be perfect. It's a starting place. If you pick something and end up not loving it, you have the power to change it. This is your creative business coaching baby. So you get to change its name, and you get to change its look and its feel. So as far as the science and art and science and technicalities and everything of branding goes, you have, the colors, you have the fonts, you have the textures, you have the style of pictures. You get to lay it all out. So a few ways you can organize this. Actually created a template brand board for my clients in Canva. So you can kind of put the palette colors out. You have the hex codes, so you have that consistency of actually having the same colors on all your things. Same thing with the fonts. So you just like pick one, you have it on your board. You can also, so you can use Canva for that. I'm pretty sure we've talked about that here. Canva is like a really, I think they might have a free option, but I know I have like the business option. It's like $15 a month, but this is where you can create like your graphics, like quotes for social media, your brand board, and you have the ability to save like your brand kit in there. So it just automatically goes with the fonts you've chosen. It automatically goes with the colors you've chosen. So when you're creating those things, you just like, it just comes up. So you don't even have to like remember. Awesome. Cool. You have the art background. So yeah, that should be pretty easy for you to go into that creativity. So you can use Canva. You can use Pinterest for inspiration or for pinning like different ideas of like look and feel and graphics and images and color palettes, like all the thing. I mean, you could go down a complete rabbit hole and pin a bajillion things in there. And it also doesn't have to take very long. You can just pick one, roll with it, and get out there, because from, you know, getting a client perspective, they really don't so much care what your logo is, what your fonts are, what your colors are. That doesn't really matter as much as the fact that you were showing up for them. They know you, they like you, they trust you because you've told your story, you've invited them to work with you, knowing exactly who you help, with what, and why. Those are much bigger pieces of the successful coaching business puzzle than the colors and fonts, so have fun with it. However, you don't need to spend a lot of time or stress out about all of those things. So do not fear about that. How much would you recommend doing to start with? How much would you recommend doing to start with? Is the business card logo enough? What else should we do first? So honestly, you don't really need business cards so much now. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. The same thing with a logo. You could literally just use your name in the font that you choose. With business cards. So currently in the state of the world right now, I don't know where you are, but where would you actually put the business cards? And who would you actually give them to? That's one that's one deciding factor. I know here in the New Jersey, New York City area, everything's closed. So I'm not sure where I would even put business cards if I had business cards. My business card is actually my Instagram bio. That's where you can read my name, who I help, and how you can contact me. And if you have a website already started, that's technically your business card. So are you planning to coach people in person, and are you, is it possible for where you are in California to actually coach people in person right now? Slowly. Okay. So do you feel like it makes sense for you to have business cards right now? In my humble opinion, it's possible to have a successful business without ever having business cards. Because, I guess I'm on my phone. I was gonna be like, here's my phone. So I always have my phone with me. So whenever I am out and about, I did coach like in-person health starting out here. And if I was at Whole Foods, if I was at the doctor's office, if I was on the bus or the subway, and I started talking to strangers and they were like, what do you do? And I would tell them, and then they would be like, oh, great. Like, I would love to know more about that. Oh, jury duty. That's another thing. That's another place I got a client. Jury duty. I did not have business cards. I like got on my phone. I'm like, okay, awesome, sweet. So like we're at jury duty right now. So I can't exactly like have like a whole sales call conversation with you, but like, what's your information? And I put it in my phone and I'm like, great, let's look at the calendar. I actually have time at Friday at 1. Do you have time Friday at 1, or does 4 p.m. work for you? Great, choose one. I'll call you. We'll have a sales conversation. We'll have a discovery session. We'll talk about what are you dealing with? What are your goals? And we can see if it will be a good fit to work together. So business cards aren't really necessary, in my opinion. But if you really, really want them and you feel good about it, go for it. Go for it. But I would start, since the situation is like, start with your Instagram bio being your business card. Start with your website being your business card. Start with your Facebook being your business card. You get the idea. So I would start online now and sharing your story, share who you help, share why, and then direct them. And I'm going to talk about this next month too, because that's all about like going full time with this, making coaching your career. But all you need to do is they just need to know who you help, with what, why, and then give them the best specific next step to actually working with you. So if you want to say, if you do your story on your Facebook or on your Instagram, you choose, and then you tell your story and you say like, I'm available to take coaching clients. If this is speaking to you, direct message me, and then they message you. And then that connection is made, and you can message them back to set up a discovery session. Bada bing, go from there. Make sense? Does that excite you, Jennifer? Or does that freak you out? What are your thoughts now? What are your thoughts? So, wrapping up branding real quick, putting together that look and feel. You can think of it as like planning a party, planning your birthday party. It's on, this is the color of balloons you want. This is the type of gluten-free, dark chocolate cake you want. Have some fun with that creativity process and know like less is more, and you don't have the pressure of knowing that it's forever. Keep it simple, keep it easy to read, keep it either bright if you want it or light if you want it. I started with like a hot pink and like black and white, like modern minimalist thing. And now if you go to my website, it's more like kind of like these colors. It's more calm and a feel of like modern luxury. So it's not as bright, it's more light. Jennifer, so in order of importance, a website is more important, I guess. So what I'm really asking is, what do I need to put money in for my business? Good, yes, you get a lot more direction. So, when are you wanting to start getting, let's do this, go to this. So when are you wanting to get paying clients? When are you wanting to work with people? Yeah, social media is something I definitely need to be better with. All right, well, I will extend a challenge to you then. Start there. Start with social media, because that's free. It's free. So, if you want to start there, and, you know, once you follow through with what I, suggested as far as like what worked for me, what works for my clients, going on social media, sharing your story via video and or post with an actual picture of you, and invite them to message you to get on a discovery call. If you do, and yeah, even if you're at 68%, ITN, definitely, how do they word this? You can start coaching before you're graduated, just as like in training. Yeah, so it's up to you. You can get paying clients whenever you want. With the month after that, awesome. So you could start, with your social media, share your story, share why you're going to ITN, what you're learning, and if you're not wanting to start getting paying clients yet, what you could simply do is like you could extend a few free coaching sessions and say like you have 3 spots available for one-on-one coaching for 3 weeks. And then, after you do a few of those sessions, you can say to them, I've loved working with you, and now if you'd like to continue, we can talk about, whatever your package or program is. But that's where you can start, Jennifer. Social media is free, easy to use. You already have an audience. It's likely you have ideal clients there. And if there aren't, it's unlikely that there isn't. But knowing that those people also know someone who knows someone who knows someone. So start there, keep us in the loop with how it goes, and we're holding you accountable and we're sending love. And this goes for all of you. I've been talking about this like every single time, I'm pretty sure, is like start now, start by sharing what you're doing, start by sharing what you're learning, share your story, and just start inviting people to like have the connections, have the relationships, learn from you, connect with you, and go from there. Hi. Yeah. You're also getting stuck with the website. Cool. Yeah, make some posts on social media. You're doing it too. You struggle with this paralysis, kind of scared to put yourself out there. You're not alone. If I heard that, if I got $1 for every single time I've heard that, I would have at least 5 drawers of yoga pants, because I would buy more yoga pants. So yes, you're not alone. You can do that. We have your back. So keep sharing in this group. We're here to support you. So if you have questions, comments, celebrations, we're here. So comment, share. And if you want to practice, in like a safe, smaller, not quite public place for your story and what you're doing, and as far as like live video goes, then go ahead and do a live video here and share your story. Share who you are going to help and why, and that can be your practice. You can practice here, and then you can do it for real on your page and just be so excited and so happy about how, while it feels scary, there's fear, you may have not ever done that before, how it can really be the exact thing you can do to get you into actually like living this dream for real. Like I said, I tell you about it because this is what I did, and this is why I am here with a successful coaching business 4 years later. It's by doing the scary stuff, sharing your story, showing up in social media. I mean, this is a game changer, huge game changer. So, all right, I gotta get going. I could talk forever, but I already went over the scheduled time, the allotted time. So all the love to you. You're doing amazing. You have been soaking it all in, really showing up to fill yourself full of this education, this empowerment, step up and do this work. So keep going. You're almost there, and go for it. So either do a practice Facebook Live here, or go for it, do it on your page. Let us know after you do it, so we can go comment on your page, be like, awesome job, way to go, this is amazing, you're gonna help so many, support each other. That's what it's all about. So yes, amazing and loving people, thank you so much for being here. For you all that are watching the replay, again, comment, ask questions. We're here to support you. So you just have to say something. If you see something, say something. If you feel something, say something. And awesome. All right, take care, lots of love. Like I said, next month we're gonna talk about career change. We're gonna talk about going full-time with your coaching business more, which will be great follow-up. So with showing up on social, sharing your story, declaring, deciding, choosing who your niche is, who you're helping, and with what and why, and let us know how it goes. So we'll expand on that next month. Take care, lots of love. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.